Okay, welcome back to another Ascension build guide. The server is lagging really bad today, or maybe it's my connection, I do not know. But I've been trying to make this video all day, and it's just been an absolute disaster. But anyway, we're going to talk about Beast and Blade. The build is going to be in the description if people want to just copy it. But we're going to be talking about Beast and Blade, and here it is. So I want to do a little disclaimer. You know, y'all can read what the enchant does, but little disclaimer, I did test this build with Mutilate, and it wasn't as good. You really need the hemo, that blood focus that gives you the more extra energy when your pet attacks. It is really essential to this build, because really the crux of this build is you want to be spamming combo point spenders as fast as you can, so you can get those 3 stacks to consume with Dispatch, and that's when the real damage is happening with your pet, with the plan of attack. The Dispatch consumes all stacks of plan of attack and grants double team. That's really what you want to be going for. That's where all your damage is at, so spamming that as much as you can is good. So this build does use a pet, and pets have been pretty nerfed on Ascension. When it comes to PvP, they've got a really brutal PvP modifier on them. They do like 80% less, or maybe it's even worse than that. It's hard to tell, but you know, I like my pet will hit, you know, more than its autos will hit for more than 1,000 on a monster, and then on a player they'll hit for like 90 or something. So it can be pretty bad. But the beasts are not as nerfed as the undeads and the demons are and stuff. But yeah, this is not a great battleground build in my opinion, because you know your pet's just gonna die so fast. If you do BGs especially, you want to make sure you're running ferocity pets. You've got Heart of the Wild. Not Heart of the Wild, I'm sorry. Heart of the Phoenix. I'm going to make sure you have Heart of the Phoenix so your pet can revive itself. This like 10-second cast time. If you talent, I think it's a 5-second cast time. This just isn't happening in the battleground, so you want this. But yeah, so definitely not a BG build. It's a very good leveling build. I've been farming on it. It's got some problems when you're farming, because sometimes my pet will, I'll finish killing a mob and the pet will hit one of the other mobs that's attacking me, and it'll kill it before I can even hit it. So then I won't be able to loot it. So anyway, that's kind of I don't know, it's suffering from success. That's what that is, suffering from success. So that's kind of an issue, but I think it's a pretty good 1v1 arena build if you're into the 1v1 arenas. If you're doing that open world PvP, it's okay. High risk PvP, I think it's an okay build for that. You know, you want to make sure you've got your pet nearby. Don't want to be sending it off if you're looking to do high risk PvP with this, but I think it's okay for that. Really, it's a private server, so pets can have problems. So having so much of your DPS wrapped up in a pet like this, especially like a melee pet, it can just be kind of risky, but all in all, the build's really fun. And what's important about it is it's easy to play, it's decent, and it's quite easy to roll in a way that does okay. So I'm going to show you everything I got. Really not impressive luck. So Bestial Wrath, if you didn't get Bestial Wrath, you need to re-roll until you get it. It's completely essential. Just, if you don't have this, don't play this build. But Bestial Wrath, it's a legendary, and legendaries are actually the easiest to get, really, because there's not that many of them. And if you're playing this build, don't pick any legendaries until you get Bestial Wrath. You'll see so many legendaries when you're re-rolling and stuff. You've got very good odds of getting it. I did happen to card it, which was a mistake. I just wanted to make sure I could test the build. But usually, I don't think I've ever had to prestige more than 2 or 3 times to get a specific legendary I wanted. So it's really nothing crazy to get this. But you just need Hemo, Bestial Wrath, Eviscerate, and Dispatch. And of course, Team Beast, but you can start with that. So this is actually so easy to roll. So that's a pretty big boon to the build. You also want to be picking up things like Strength of the Earth Totem, Battle Shout, Blessing of Might, Rockbiter Weapon, Aspect of the Beast, Rampage, which I have here, True Shot Aura. All of that's quite good on this build as well if you manage to get them. But make sure you don't pick anything until you get the Bestial Wrath. And I do have some wasted talent points. Like I've got Shadow Step, which I like Shadow Step more than Charge. That's why I have it, and I wanted to PvP on this build, and I like Shadow Step much better for PvP than Charge, especially on a rogue build, but I'm in my PvE version of this spec right now, but I do have Shadow Step still. So Shadow Step, not mandatory. You could just start with Hunter Pet and Charge, especially if you're doing PvP. But so let's look at some talents real quick. Chose this. Some people would maybe argue about longevity. I also take the longevity REs, and if you have this plus the longevity REs, you get a very low cooldown on Call of the Wild, Bestial Wrath, very low cooldown on Bestial Wrath. Your pet special ability have a low cooldown, which that can be huge. But most importantly is Rabid, which is this buff. My pet has it, it'll never fall off. And if it doesn't fall off, the stacks he's built with it never fall off either. So he's got permanent 25% attack power. Not right now, because he hasn't been in combat in a long time, but they'll have permanent 25% attack power, which is very nice. Along with all the other benefits you get from this. And of course, if you've PvP and you've got Intimidation, this reduces Intimidation's cooldown too. Oh yeah, another thing. If you want to PvP on this build, you absolutely got to get Intimidation. So yeah, that's something. Kill Command. I didn't get the Kill Command or the Garrote, which really stunk. But Kill Command and Garrote are quite good with this build. If you get Garrote, you want... you want Serrated Blades for sure. So yeah, well, let's talk about the build. So to start with, if you don't have the Garrote skill card, I'd say you start with Stealth so you're able to roll Garrote. I'd start with Stealth, and of course you must start with Tame Beast. So that's abilities I would start with. I carded Bestial Wrath, which was a mistake. I should have carded Garrote or Kill Command. Garrote, I think, is more important than Kill Command. Exotic Beast. This lets you obtain the Devilosaur. We'll talk about the pets you should pick in a minute, but it lets you obtain the Devilosaur and gives you 6 pet talent points, which all in all, this ends up being somewhere close to like a 20% DPS increase. So this is really quite good. So the 6 talent points, you're able to pick more damage talents for your pet, and then the Devilosaur, which does, I think, like 7 or 8% more DPS than the next best pet. So that is all made possible through this Beast Mastery talent. I got Rampage, 5% crit for me, and then it's an aura, so it gives 5% crit to the pet. This is okay, not mandatory at all. A Kill Command card would be ideal here, and I got Rupture. Rupture is a common ability. It's pretty good on this build because all the Hemo talents benefit Rupture too for the most part. But I was unlucky, and I didn't get Garrote, which also synergizes with this and Hemo. But that's okay. I discarded because I've got almost no skill cards, or no gold cards. That wouldn't really do anything for this build. So my lucky cards, Shadow Step, like I said, this was for PvP. I got these two just because I don't have any other golden cards. You don't need golden cards for this. Of course, these are commons. You'll probably get them almost certainly. Hunger for Blood, be a pretty big DPS increase for this build, but I didn't get it. Oh well. But it's pretty good. Rockbiter Weapon, also quite nice. Rockbiter Weapon, I think, is your best weapon enchant because it gives attack power to you, which gives attack power to your pet. Pretty good. If you're PvPing especially, you could go for poisons instead of this because the poisons allow you to have access to this Deadly Brew. So you can have crippling poison on them all the time. So you'll have a slow, and you can use wound poison. So you've also got a mortal wounds, like a reduced healing effect on them. Really quite good. But I think Rockbiter, especially for PvE, is better. So that's my abilities. Really nothing else that's necessary. And all the buffs and stuff, of course, like I mentioned, are good. And yeah, it'd be great if I didn't have stealth, but I didn't use the Garrote card, which was a blunder. So we're gonna talk about some REs. Here they are. Of course, we've got the Beast and Blade RE. I got Counterpose. There's not really great options for this build's REs. Focused attacks, not actually that great. I would put, instead of focused attacks, I would be putting the Elemental Companion here. The Elemental Companion makes your pet do less damage, but it makes it magic damage instead. So it depends on the monster, but the damage increase is usually at least 20%. It's never really a DPS loss, so that's something else. And if they've got like Curse of the Elements on them, it'll make your pet do a whole lot more damage. So it is a DPS increase to have the Elemental Companions. I just didn't test it, didn't have it to test with it, but that's what I'd have instead of this. This 20% crit for your hemo. I don't use the ambush portion of this. You got to be behind the target. Kind of complicates things, so I didn't mess with that portion of it, although it would be a slight DPS increase if I did. Faithful Cardio. This I just have as a placeholder. I don't have kill command. I would have liked hasty kill command here instead, but I have this. 4% reduced cost for melee abilities. And what this does is, takes 1 energy off hemo, 1 off rupture, 2 off dispatch. It's whatever. Doesn't really matter what you have here. Frenzy, 3 stacks of this is 15% more attack speed from your pet. He always has this active, so that's just a permanent 15% attack speed. Then Unleash Fury, 9% more damage. Longevity, like I said, I already discussed the benefits of this. And now for the pet you want to be using itself. I have the Devilosaur. I know right here it says that this monster's bite does 57 damage. It actually does about 40% more than the bite. Of course not when your like Beast and Blade buffs that only buff bite are active. But the damage on this is quite good. It increases all the damage the pet does by 3%, stacks 3 times, so that's 9% damage.